Good morning. We come to this sacred space made more sacred in this moment by the presence and attention of each and every one of us. Welcome to the Winchester Unitarian Society. My name is Jean McClurkin. I use the she, her pronouns, and I am the worship associate this morning. Today is another of our summer services for 2025, and today we welcome Dan Spencer as our service leader. We're looking forward to Dan's reflection today, which is entitled Spiritual Uncertainty. Immediately after the service, please join us for coffee, conversation, and refreshments in the Sims room, which is located at the back of our sanctuary. If you are here in person this morning, please stick around for the community connection. And if you're able to do so, please join us for a discussion after today's service with Dan, which is taking place in the parlor around 11:30. I now invite us to turn and greet one another. Oh, no, wait, first, I apologize. First, we have to do the welcoming banner. So please wave to our folks at home. The camera's up there. Now, you may turn and greet one another. Thank you. Now, let us open our hearts and minds to the spirit of worship.
Good morning. I'm Dan Spencer. I'm going to be leading this service this morning. I'm going to open the service with some words from John Krakauer. He is the author of many books, nonfiction, that I enjoy, including Into Thin Air and Under the Banner of Heaven, which is where this excerpt comes from. There are some 10,000 extant religious sects, each with its own cosmology, each with its own answer for the meaning of life and death. Most assert that the other 9,999 not only have it completely wrong, but are instruments of evil. Besides, none of the 10,000 has yet persuaded me to make the requisite leap of faith. In the absence of conviction, I've come to terms with the fact that uncertainty is an inescapable corollary of life. An abundance of mystery is simply part of the bargain, which doesn't strike me as something to lament. Accepting the essential inscrutability of existence, in any case, is surely preferable to its opposite, capitulating to the tyranny of intransigent belief.
I now invite Lua Spencer to come up and light our chalice. Our words for the chalice lighting today come from an excerpt from Paths to God, by Ram Dass, sorry. We are all on a journey to the same place, but we take different roads. Some walk with Jesus, some chant with Krishna, some sit with Buddha, some dance with Sufis. The divine is not confined to one name, one face, or one scripture. It is the love that calls us, the mystery that moves us, the truth that humbles us. The spiritual marketplace is vast, not because truth is fragmented, but because human hearts are. Each tradition offers a mirror, and we choose the one that reflects us best. What matters is not the label we wear, but the sincerity with which we seek. The path is not in the name, it's in the walk. Now let us rise and embody your spirit to join in singing hymn number 188 in the gray hymnal, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
I'd like to invite those who are young and young at heart forward for the first reflection. Morning. That's right. So today's service is about uncertainty. And we're uncertain when things are not set in stone, right? And we have a special branch of mathematics that covers that type of topic. And I'm going to be discussing a book, one of my newest favorites. It's called Bayesian Probability for Babies.
Probability for babies?
That's right.
This is hilarious.
So let's get started. Yeah, cool. This is a ball. The ball is a piece of candy on a cookie. Yum. Some cookies have candy. Some don't.
This does not sound like probability.
Oh, buckle up. Take a bite. It has no candy. Did it come from a candy cookie? Either it came from a candy cookie, or it didn't. What are the chances? If the cookie had no candy, then everybody would have no candy. The probability of no candy bite given a no candy cookie is 1. If the cookie had candy, then very few bites would have no candy. The probability of a no candy bite given a candy cookie is 1/3. 1 in 3. 1 is greater than 1/3 in fractions. So the no candy bite probably came from a no candy cookie, right?
Possibly.
Hang on.
That's the odds.
But what if we knew that there were 10 cookies and all had candy but 1? What do you think now? Gonna change.
Probability.
Take a bite of each. This is a great experiment to do at home. Take a bite of each. There are 4 no candy bites. 3 bites are from candy cookies. 1 bite is from a no candy cookie. So what do you think it is now? 1/3 of the candy cookies have a no candy bite. The probability of a candy cookie with a no candy bite is 3/4, or 3 in 4. This is the prior distribution of cookies. This is the posterior distribution of cookies. This bite, the bite probably came from a candy cookie, right? Now you know. Amazing probability. All right. And now we will sing our kids out.
I'm going to see if this works. Is it working? Is it working? No, it's not. The light's not coming on. You can hear me though, right? Okay. Okay. I'm pretty loud. Well, we've come to the partner service for joys and sorrows. So at this time, you're invited to come forward and to share a joy or sorrow that you carry within. Please note this service is being live streamed and will be available on the internet and archived recording. But if anyone wishes to have a candle brought to them, oh, is this one working? This one's working. Oh, good. Now I don't have to shout. Okay. Can you hear me better now? Yes. And the people online can now hear me if they're listening. Okay. So at this time, you're invited to come forward and light a candle and share a joy or sorrow you carry within. Please note this service is being live streamed over the internet and as it will be archived as a recording. If anyone wishes to have a candle brought to them, please raise your hand and we will do so. Anyone want to come up? Now that the mic is working, please feel free.
Good morning. My name is Patty Cameron. At the end of this month will mark the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Probably one of the most devastating happenings within our country. So for that, I light this candle with great sorrow. However, I'm also going to light it for joy, because Hurricane Katrina gave us the opportunity here at this church to do some of the most amazing work, and it showed us what we're made of. And out of that work came Gulf Coast Volunteers for the Long Haul. I personally made 54 trips to New Orleans and done some of the best work that I've ever done in my life. I have been invited back to celebrate the 20th anniversary with the city of New Orleans, and so I couldn't be more proud to represent all of you.
Hi, I'm Chris Wagand, and I'd like to light a candle for all the immigrants whose lives are in turmoil right now because they're not being treated as human beings. It's always a difficult situation, but, love has to conquer.
So I'm Martin Newhouse, and I want to light a candle of joy. I was at a meeting all day yesterday in the wilds of New Hampshire, and I came home around 6 o'clock, and I walked in the front door, and there was our little granddaughter, our youngest daughter's little girl, and she waved at me. And I remember that feeling for my own kids, God, sometimes they really do notice you. So I'm very joyful about that.
Good morning, I'm John Greeby. Thank you for the candle of joy. It's very important. I would like to light just one candle for the approximately, I know you all know this, about 17,000 children have died in this strange place called Gaza, and we're all paying for it with our tax dollars. And it kills me that our democracy can't do anything about it. So just for those children who are now dying of starvation, the UN just mentioned this weekend, or Friday I think it was, that the World Food Organization does this. They formally designated at the beginning of conditions that reach the term famine. And it is not due to natural causes or environmental causes. It's due to man-made causes.
Anybody else? Okay. We will close with lighting three more candles. One for the joys and sorrows that have been shared here today. Another one for all of those in the wider world. And then a third candle for all those that remain unspoken. Thanks. We will now join in a moment of silence, from out of which we will sing hymn number 194 in the gray hymnal, Faith is a Forest. Thank you. Today's reading comes from Looking for Faith. Here's a guide to choosing a religion by Ross Douthat, New York Times, from February 1st, 2025. My parents ate health food in my youth, in the days before Whole Foods was everywhere, when seeking out a veggie burger could require entering a subculture as exotic as any obscure religious sect. So it made sense that the vegetarian restaurant we frequented had an attached bookstore that mostly sold religious books and spiritual objects with a New Age vibe, but no doctrinal consistency. You could find crucifixes and crystals, Christian mysticism alongside astrological charts, Buddhist self-help, and Judica sharing shelf space with Wiccan texts, Bibles cheek to jowls with copies of Women Who Run with Wolves. My youthful experience in that bookstore of all religions has increasing relevance to where many Americans find themselves today. The rise of the nuns, the Americans with no religious affiliation, has seemingly reached its limit, and a fascination with the numinous shadows our culture once again. Within the Intelligista, there's a wave of notable conversions and a striking nostalgia for belief. But secularization has created a cohort with little acquaintance with organized religion, for whom the religious quest can feel a bit like entering a store where every faith has its wares on display. For such a seeker, the sheer breadth of those options could be a crucial obstacle to religious commitment. The one thing to be newly open to the evidence for cosmic design and supernatural possibilities. But it's harder in a pluralist society to pick just one religious option as more likely to be true than the others. For the atheist, this difficulty is often invoked as an argument for general disbelief. We're all atheists about most of the gods that humanity has ever believed in, Richard Dawkins has argued. Some of us just go one god further. The idea behind this aphorism is that every serious religious worldview is a closed system, that to really practice and believe in one is to necessarily reject all the rest as incredible and false. Even if it doesn't prove the case for atheism, this theory still creates a problem for the religious seeker. With so many different options, so many faiths and churches, aren't you all but guaranteed to get it wrong? If religion isn't chosen for you by inheritance or by revelation, how can you credibly hope to choose one for yourself?
That was fantastic. Thank you, Peter. And one slide further, if you would. Thank you. The Oxford English Dictionary defines spirituality as the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. So when we talk about spirituality, by its very nature, it is something that we cannot see, hear, smell, or taste, or touch. And yet, many of us are drawn to spiritual questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What happens after I die? Does God exist? I think Unitarian Universalists express an interesting viewpoint for questions such as these for a religious organization. We welcome diversity and doubt and enjoy haggling over what it means to be a good person. But we all still try to answer these questions in our own way. I'm a statistician, and statistics is a branch of math that deals with uncertainty. I gave you that little primer earlier. Maybe you've enjoyed or been forced into a stats class at some point in your education and been delighted to think about the chance that 3 tossed quarters all land heads up. That's 1 in 8, by the way. Or that you will win with a bet on black in roulette. 18 out of 38, or just under 50%. House always wins. Truly exhilarating stuff. There's a branch of statistics referred to as Bayesian statistics that I'm fond of. Or maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome after graduate school. The idea behind Bayesian reasoning is that we update our beliefs when we observe new evidence. This idea was formalized in a paper written in the mid-1700s by a Presbyterian minister, Thomas Bayes. That's what everyone represents him as. It's actually probably not him. That picture surfaced sometime in the 1930s in a textbook, and that has been associated with him ever since. But they were about 200 years late. The paper itself was written in response to a problem posed in a book written about 40 years earlier. So this guy really knew how to party. The question itself can be illustrated with an example. There's a man trying to guess the ratio of blanks and prizes at a lottery. So far, the man has watched the lottery draw 10 blanks and 1 prize. So given these data, Bayes showed in detail how to compute the probability that the ratio of blanks to prizes is between 1 in 9 and 1 in 11. The probability is low at this point, about 7.7%. He went on to describe that computation after the man has watched the lottery draw 20 blanks and 2 prizes, 40 blanks and 4 prizes, and so on. It's truly painful reading. I've done it for you. It looks like homework. Finally, having drawn 10,000 blanks and 1,000 prizes, the probability that it's between 1 in 9 and 1 in 11 reaches 97%, right? Keep updating your belief until you're pretty sure it's like 1 in 11, right? Or 1 in 10. So let's do a little example to get into the idea of what it means to update your beliefs mathematically. It's a little more fun if it's something that nobody here is an expert in. You're kind of all a diverse crowd, so it's really hard to hit that mark. We're going to see how I did. So here's my question to all of you. How much do you think a full-grown male peregrine falcon weighs? Feel free to shout out a few guesses. Anybody? How much do you think a full-grown male peregrine falcon weighs? 10 ounces. I heard 2 pounds. What else we got? 3 pounds. Okay, good. So 17 pounds. Cool. So I have found a topic that nobody is an expert in. Is that correct? Okay, wonderful. Perfect. That's great because now we can update our beliefs. Does anyone think they weigh 100 pounds? Oh, one person. I like it. You know, everything's possible, right? It's improbable they would sink to the earth like a stone rather than being one of the most impressive aerial hunters on Earth. So while we don't necessarily know how much about peregrine falcons specifically, we do know some things about them because we know that they are birds and that they are not known for being feathery, earthbound blobs. If I asked you to give me a range of weights for a peregrine falcon, we might learn a little bit more. So I'm going to say maybe about 2 pounds, give or take a pound, right? We know that they must have some mass, they exist, but we also know that they need to be able to fly. So here's our distribution. Next slide, there it is. So if I wanted to represent this with a probability distribution, I've taken some statistical liberties. Let's see if anybody catches me on them. So I have, oh, not yet. I'll get there. So before I've seen any falcons, I'm saying, okay, peaks at around 2, give or take 1. Let's say that there's some tails out there for some real big boys or real small boys. Okay? So now let's say we catch 10 falcons, and we weigh them. They're going to love that. And here's their weights plotted on the same graph. So the falcons I've seen, and what we can see is we were a little heavy on our estimates, and we can revise how heavy we think peregrine falcons are. Now, Thomas Bayes was the guy that figured out how to do that mathematically instead of just guesswork. The idea is intuitive. Once you've observed something, you update your beliefs about it. Okay, and now I've updated my belief mathematically using the method developed by Thomas Bayes, and we can see the shift that has occurred going from the gray curve to the blue curve, right? It's gotten tighter around our data. It's not just including the range of our data. It's a little bit more, right? We're still a little bit, those 10 peregrine falcons can't represent every single peregrine falcon. So we have a little uncertainty left, but we've changed that. Now we want to verify our work. So like we've already established, none of us seem to really know much about this topic, so that's cool. But let's look and see how we did when we compare what Wikipedia says. So it says that male peregrine falcons weigh between 0.72 and 2.2 pounds. That's pretty good, right? We started with nothing, we got 10 birds, and now we're pretty close to what I assume experts, or at least people who are really interested in peregrine falcons on Wikipedia, have updated us for. So isn't the study of statistics just so fun? Aren't we thrilled to be here on Sunday morning talking about math? That's why we got up. Now, poor Thomas died before he could get this published, but he had a good friend by the name of Richard Price. There he is, Richard Price. That is actually him in this portrait. It's a famous portrait by, I want to say Benjamin Hunt is his name. And he is the world's first Bayesian. He was Thomas Bayes' friend. He was also interested in math. He is coincidentally one of the very first Unitarian ministers in England. That Unitarian church still exists today, Newington Green Unitarian Church. It looks fantastic. I would love to go visit it someday. Maybe one of you will and tell me about it. Now, Richard was all fired up about finding Thomas's paper because he had been trying to prove the existence of God with math. And he thought that Bayes' theorem would help him do it. Richard was responding to the philosopher, who was also his friend, David Hume. You may be familiar with his work. Now, Hume said that miracles are false because they always seem to be a story told by a friend of a friend, and that evidence against miracles mounts every day as one experiences the laws of nature. Richard, who strongly believed in the Bible and the miracles contained within it, gave a calculation of the probability for the miracle of the tide not coming in one day using Bayes' theorem. He made some assumptions about the probability of miracles, the baseline probability of miracles, but in the end, he thought that the probability of this particular miracle occurring is around 1 in a million. Actually, he gave a range between about 1 in 800,000 and 1 in 6 million, if you want to be particular. Not small, sure, but it's greater than 0, right? So he bolstered his argument by performing the same type of calculation across a range of miracles. And he added them up, and he added up all these probabilities, and he came to this range, and he said, now I think that the probability of miracles being real, and God existing, therefore, being around 10%. I think it's kind of funny that that was his argument, and he came, anyway. So this satisfied Richard, that God must be making these miracles, and therefore God exists. Now, something that plays a big role in Price's calculation is the notion of one's beliefs before any observations are made. Does anybody remember what that's called from the Bayesian Probability for Babies book? Anybody? The prior, that's right. So, he had some strong prior assumptions. Now, he gave the probability that miracles exist a 50-50 chance, yeah? But if we were to tweak this assumption a little bit, we can get wildly different answers. For example, we could decide that there is no way that miracles exist. The probability is 0%. Now, in that case, even witnessing the absence of tides would not be enough to convince us that miracles exist, mathematically. Conversely, if we know in our bones, before any observations are made, that miracles definitely do happen, that is, the probability of miracles existing, and therefore God existing, is 100%, then no matter how regular the tides are coming in, we remain convinced. This is something to keep in mind when you're debating with anyone with deeply held beliefs of any kind, say over the Thanksgiving dinner. Everyone comes from different circumstances, with different upbringings, influences, and experiences. We all have different priors. We all witness or we all observe different data. And all of these combine within each of us to answer these questions about life, the universe, and everything. As Unitarian Universalists, we welcome all points of view with an understanding that we have different lived experiences. Given the number of texts and testimonies of many faiths, couldn't we conclude that everyone has a point? Take the time to listen to what people with different beliefs have to say. While we may not ever agree with them, we may come to understand them, to see how they themselves see themselves as good people, trying to do the right thing. And don't be afraid to share your own beliefs, so that they might come to understand you better. After all, despite their theological and philosophical differences, Richard Price, who was a minister, and David Hume, famed skeptic, considered themselves to be friends. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, no matter our differences, hopefully we can agree in the very high probability that when we contribute to the offering, we make a practical investment, right, in the ongoing, thriving community. The Winchester Unitarian Society cannot pay for the electric bill, even with a good probability, right, or our staff, or run the live stream technology without financial support. Here are the different ways you can contribute to the Winchester Unitarian Society. Those attending by live stream will soon see information about how to give. For those in the sanctuary, the details for how to give are printed in your order of service. If you're visiting us for the first time, please put information in the contact card in front of you and put it in the offering. You are our guest. The offering will now be generously given and gratefully received. Thank you. Those who wish to do so, please join me in reading together the affirmation of shared ministry. We gather not for ourselves alone, but to join our common power to build the beloved community within and beyond these walls. We create and reaffirm this covenant this day to make justice flourish, to practice compassion amidst difference, and to embody transformative love. Now let us rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 187 in the gray hymnal. It sounds along the ages.
Let go of certainty. The opposite isn't uncertainty. It's openness, curiosity, and a willingness to embrace paradox, rather than choose up sides. The ultimate challenge is to accept ourselves exactly as we are, but never stop trying to learn and grow.
Please join me in reciting the words for extinguishing our chalice, printed in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. The service has ended. Thank you very much for being here. But our life of service continues, so please join us in the sim rooms for coffee and conversation. And as a reminder, the discussion about the service will happen at 11:30. Thank you, everybody. Bye.